Okay, this video is going to be on vendor credits. Why do we issue a vendor credit, and what are the reasons that we need in order to give a vendor credit? Who gets the vendor credit, and how does it all go from there? Okay. In issuing a vendor credit, there are a few different ways that you can issue a vendor credit. Now, if you are on a dispatch right here, so this dispatch is the one that's the same one from my other videos where I made a fake dispatch that I sold a job, and I made a purchase order for that particular job to purchase equipment. Now, if I hit view order parts, there's nothing there because I've deleted those POs because I couldn't process it all through. If I hit create purchase order, I can't change the purchase order to a vendor credit. So I cannot issue a vendor credit from the dispatch. There's only one way to enter a vendor credit. I have to go to PO list, and then I go to add right here, and then it says vendor credit. Okay, so now I'm going to go enter a vendor credit. So why am I issuing a vendor credit? Well, I'm returning an item that was purchased and invoiced to me. I don't care if it's $20, $200, or $2,000. If I'm returning that item, I need a vendor credit, because the vendor now needs a number, which in this case is 26691. They need that number to purchase or to process, not purchase, but process this transaction that credits my account for the $2, $20, or $2,000. So my first question is what company are we returning this item to? I'm just going to use Coburn's. COB is what you type in, and then you hit tab. Again, I'm going to say this in case you don't remember it and looking at the other videos. If you are typing in a vendor name, when you do Coburn's, which is one of our main suppliers, you only type in COB and don't go any further, and then you hit tab. If you continue to type in Coburn's, you will put it underneath a whole different vendor, which there's another vendor with a floor plan and things of that sort. So only type in COB, hit tab, and you'll get the correct supplier up there, or vendor up there. Now, you type in Coburn's, or you type in COB, hit that, it comes up with 1849 Commercial Drive on it. Shipping address is Coburn's, 1849 Commercial Drive as well, because this is where we are bringing the part to. We're returning it to them. It's got the vendor credit number, the date requested, which is the same day, and then the buyer. Who's the buyer? I am returning it, so I'm going to put my name on it, Eric, and then ship via, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put delivered it, because I'm delivering it back to them. Who's confirming it to? I'm confirming it to myself, so I put my initials there as well. What item are we returning? Let's start off with a circuit board. I'm going to return a circuit board to Coburn's because I didn't use the board and I just want to get my money back. So I need a vendor credit to get my money back. Well, if I type in circuit board, well, there are some circuit boards that pop up. Well, again, I'm going to tell you, you do not need to type in circuit board. You can literally, you can do it because you can just hit circuit board right here and you can return that circuit board. I'm going to tell you, if it's a service part like a circuit board, then do the same thing as like on a purchase of it. You're going to type in miscellaneous service. It's going to pop up as miscellaneous parts. You're going to hit it, and then on your description, you're going to type in circuit board. Price of the circuit board, we'll make it up and just say it's $25.25. Okay. What dispatch did it go to? Okay, well now I've got to actually find the dispatch and find the job that particular item was originally purchased for. So before I go into the vendor credit, I should know the dispatch number and the job that we are returning it from, because it was purchased for a job, but we did not use it, so we were returning it from that job. So if I purchased a circuit board for $25.25 on a PO, that expense is on that job. If I do a vendor credit on the same exact dispatch and the same job, now I am crediting that back to that job, so I no longer have the $25 expense on that job. So it is extremely important that you know what the dispatch number is, and also you know what job it is. Now, I can look and go, well, wait, I don't know what dispatch it was, and I don't know what job it was. So remember, everything that you have opened up on your screen is on this blue line right here at the top. So I go, wait a minute, what dispatch was it? Well, if I go right back here, it says dispatch Eric Guillory. I can click on it and I go, well, here is my dispatch number, 16432. Okay? Go back to my vendor credit and I will put my dispatch number in at 160432. Then what job is it? Oh shit, I don't remember that. Go back to the dispatch number, and then my job is 228 Pie Street, 228 space PI. Go back to my vendor credit, and you literally got to go find it. Job name, 228 space PI. There you go. So now you got to go department, and your department is going to be service, because I originally purchased this part as a service part for 228 Pie Street. So now my vendor credit is going to go right back to that same exact job. So I have a credit of $25.25 as well. If I would have done a PO for this particular circuit board, then I would have a purchase of $25.25. Now, when you did the original purchase to this circuit board, for argument's sake, you could have put the circuit board on there, some acid, some contactors, capacitors, all that kind of stuff, and your total bill was $385. That's okay. You're only returning the circuit board, and the total of the circuit board with tax is $25.25. So that will be your return and your vendor credit. Okay? You are going to process this, and then you would actually save and enter return receipt. Okay? Then your invoice number for Coburn's goes down here at the bottom underneath your memo. So the invoice number for Coburn's, let's see if I have one here. I got Linux in here. There's Coburn's right here. So you will go to the invoice number, and this happens to be a credit memo right here. So all of Coburn's credit memos are CM. They start with CM. So a purchase will not start with CM. So the CM then on here has a -1 for quantity because it's a credit. So this one here is CM 406201575. So I would put down at the bottom here CM 401262275 or whatever it is. Okay. Therefore, my invoice number down at the bottom, my memo is going to mimic exactly and copy exactly what their invoice says and their invoice number says right here. So our PO, so it says customer PO right here, 26656. What they're considering a PO that we're giving them is the vendor credit number that we have right here. They put that underneath credit right there. So in this particular case, we are actually returning a circuit board for $155.43. With the tax, subtract the tax, it's $169.73. So if you did this particular vendor credit for this particular job, you would actually go to the price here, and you would make the price the total down at the bottom of $169.73. Okay. then you would save this and you hit return receipt on it. If you hit save and enter return receipt, it's going to ask you now, since it says returning one, quantity 1, you would put a 1 on there, and then you would save and bill it, which therefore now would create a return bill, a credit on our QuickBooks statement that shows that Coburn's owes me $169.73. So when I save and bill means create a bill, whether it be a vendor credit or a PO, purchase order, in QuickBooks. When you hit save and bill, it's going to create that bill in QuickBooks. If you never bill it, then it never creates a PO or a bill in QuickBooks. Okay? Very important. So I am not going to receive this because I'm not going to create a bill when this is actually not the case. So I'm back over here again. So when returning, again, I'm going to go back to my PO list because now I'm going to go play around with teaching about vendor credits. So now I'm going to say we went to an install job, and I'm going to say the install job is from the original dispatch of Eric Guillory, where we have been talking about this whole time. I'm going to say, for argument's sake, we went ahead and did a purchase order, and we had a furnace, a coil, a condenser on here. We purchased the whole 9 yards of it. Then the furnace was bad. They've already processed the invoice. We now, 2 days later, bring the furnace out to the job to install it, and we find that the furnace is completely all dented up. We cannot return that furnace unless we bring them a vendor credit. So, again, I cannot go to this dispatch and create a vendor credit. I can only create a purchase order. I can't create a vendor credit. So I have got to copy the dispatch number, and I've got to remember the job. Then again, I got to go to my PO list, and I got to go add, and I would add vendor credit. I'm adding a vendor credit, 26693. My vendor is going to be, in this case, Coburn's, I'm going to say. And I need to return that furnace that I purchased for that job that was damaged. So with that being said, when I did the PO, my furnace was a model number R801TA075-417 MSA. So now I'm going to type in Coburn, COB, hit tab. I'm going to go hit the buyer, which is me. Ship, we're going to say delivered, and then confirm to me. Now remember, I am returning the model number R801TA and then the 417 MSA. I cannot put this model number on the vendor credit. And the reason that I cannot, even though I am returning that model number, and even though I am purchasing that same model number on the PO, I can't return that model number until that furnace is processed in our computer. But it's not going to be processed because it's being returned. Very quickly, go. Because we like the product. Rude, Linux, and Mitsubishi. All right. The reason I cannot return the R801TA is because it is not processed in my computer that I actually put it on a job. So if I do a vendor credit, this is what's called a serialized item. The serial number is not in my computer because I returned it. So since it's not in my computer, I can't return it. So what I have to do is I have to go in and I have to type in miscellaneous equipment, non-serialized miscellaneous equipment, and then I go ahead and I put the model number, which is going to be an R801 TA075 417 MSA, and then I'm going to go ahead and where it says serial number here, I'll delete to the right of there, and I'm going to put my serial number 123456. So this is going to be the item that I am going to be returning. My vendor credit is 26693. My dispatch, I have to go back over here in the blue, find my dispatch number. I can highlight my dispatch, copy it, go back to my vendor credit, put it in here, paste it in there. I go to my job, which I know is 228 Pie Street, tab on that one, go to my department, and my department is going to be residential install, because I'm returning that piece of equipment that I never installed in my house or any house. It has never been in our computer, so you cannot return on the vendor credit the same exact model number and serial number that you originally purchased. You just can't return it like that. It has to be done under miscellaneous equipment. Okay. Now, same thing with an evaporator coil that's 5 years old. If I am purchasing if I'm doing a PO for a evaporator coil 5 years ago and it's in my computer, and that coil is warranty, and we need to return that coil, I will not do a vendor credit for that RCF 3617 MSA coil. I'm going to do a miscellaneous equipment and then return it like that. And the reason that I'm going to do it like that, again, is because the equipment, the coil is 5 years old. So if I return that piece of equipment, try to do it 5 years later as a vendor credit, it just won't allow you to go through that process. So with that being said, you have to use the miscellaneous equipment and put the model and serial number in there for warranty items. Okay. Now, that warranty item we just got finished talking about, the evaporator coil that's bad. So remember, if you have a evaporator coil that you purchased 5 years ago, well, that's been done, installed, the whole 9 yards. 5 years later, here we are. We have a service call. We go out there. We find you have a bad evaporator coil. We now have got to purchase. We have to do a purchase of a new evaporator coil. So we got to do a PO for the new evaporator coil. Remember, the original one's 5 years old and it's under warranty. The new one that we're purchasing has got to have a PO for it, but you would put underneath there for the item on that new coil you are purchasing, because it's under warranty and it's a Lennox coil, you will type in warranty, and then you will go warranty Lennox-S right here. And then again, you will go ahead and you will type in the model number CH33-50/60-C is your coil, and the existing model number of the coil that you are warranting is going to be serial number, I don't know, we're just going to use again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there's your serial number of the coil that you are returning. Okay, that is your vendor credit. If you're purchasing a new coil, the new coil that is a warranty coil, you use warranty equipment. And in this case, because it's a Lennox coil we're talking about, you will use warranty equipment Lennox. So you type in warranty, and then you go down to Lennox, and boom. You select the one that says Lennox on it, warranty Lennox, and then in your description you literally put the model number and the serial number of the coil that's under warranty. CH33-50/60-C. That's the model number. Put a couple of dashes, serial number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now, to do a vendor credit for that coil, because since you've purchased it, now we're going to go install it. Then we're going to take the coil that's in the house already. We're going to take it out, and now we have to return it to Lennox. Lennox does not allow you to physically return the coil to them. You just do the paperwork on it, is all you do. When you do the paperwork, we have to keep that coil for 6 months in case they ever want it back. So, when we are doing the vendor credit, we are going to use not warranty Lennox-S, which is going to be the warranty coil that we purchased to install in place of the original one. When we do the vendor credit, we are going to use the miscellaneous equipment tab. Remember, vendor credits, you use miscellaneous equipment and you type in the model number and serial number of the coil that is being returned. When you're doing a PO, you use warranty Lennox-S, which is going to be the model number of the coil that you're purchasing to replace the warranty coil, and then the serial number that particular coil is, which is going to replace the old one. So then the other part of it is when you are doing the invoice. So I'm going to say I am charging the customer $750 to replace a warranty evaporator coil. When I keyed in this right here, let's just say my price comes up, which says $1,184.82. I'm charging the customer $750 to replace the coil. Now, I'm going to say, for argument's sake, I installed this coil 5 years ago. My company installed the coil 5 years ago. So I know this coil is under warranty because I have the records that I installed the coil 5 years ago. I have the records that this coil is registered. I have the records that this coil is under warranty, and I have no doubt I'm going to get my $1,184 back. So I am not going to charge this customer the $1,184 and wait till I get my credit back. I'm just going to do it for the $750, and I will process my paperwork and wait to get my money back. When you do a PO that purchases that warranty Lennox-S coil, when you do a PO to purchase that, that automatically triggers for you to go on the Excel sheet with all the warranty equipment on it and start a whole new line item on that Excel sheet that is going to take you from the purchase of the coil to the return of the coil and everything in there until you literally get the actual credit back. So when you follow this Excel sheet, that Excel sheet will not let you screw this up unless you just don't pay attention to it and don't follow it. Okay? You really can't screw it up if you just follow directions. Okay? And it tells you everything to do. I hope the vendor credit has been clarified a little bit. I'm going to just do a complete recap real quick. I'm going to hit delete on there and delete on there. So if you're entering a vendor credit for equipment, equipment is a furnace, a coil, a condenser, and air handler. Anything other than furnace, coil, condenser, air handler, it is a part. A compressor sits inside of the condenser. Therefore, the compressor is a part. It is not equipment. If you are purchasing an air handler, it is equipment. If you are purchasing an evaporator coil under warranty for an air handler, it is actually a part. Lennox does not issue a serial number on their warranty evaporator coils for air handlers. They do issue serial numbers on warranty evaporator coils for their evaporator coil only. So The difference is an air handler has an evaporator coil in it. You can purchase a evaporator coil by itself that's used with gas furnaces, and if you purchase that evaporator coil by itself, it has its own casing, an own model number, and own serial number. When you purchase an air handler, that coil uses the model number and serial number of the air handler to identify it. So if I purchase a warranty evaporator coil for an air handler, I use warranty service parts. So I would type in warranty, wait for it to pull up, and I go down to warranty parts, and then underneath warranty parts in the description, I will put air handler, and then I will put model number of the air handler, which is going to be, I'll make it up, CBA-025, and then I'll put serial number 123456. So that is the air handler that the evaporator coil is coming from. So then I'm going to put a few dashes, so that gives me the air handler model and serial number. And then I can put in here evap coil. Well, there may not be a model number on that coil. There's only a category number or something like that with Lennox. So their cat number may be, so I'll just put on here, cat number 67, I don't know, K89. That is their category number for that evaporator coil. But the actual part number for the coil is the cat 67K89. But the model and serial number that they use for that coil is going to be a CBA 25, which is going to be an air handler model number, not a coil model number. Now, that particular category number and coil number literally could be the exact same coil for, say, a C3348C coil. But yet, because it's for an air handler, it doesn't come with a case, therefore it's a different category number. It physically could be the same exact coil, but because it does not have a case, it doesn't have a model and serial number, it has a cat number. I know it's a little confusing, but that's the way they do it. Lennox is like that. Rude will actually have a model number and a serial number for the evaporator coil, whereas Lennox will not. Amana will have a model number and a serial number for the evaporator coil. Any service parts go underneath warranty service parts. So I'm returning. I purchased a RA14-030 condenser. So there's the condenser I purchased, an RA1430AJ1NA. That would be the PO. The PO, I would purchase that condenser. Now I'm going to go ahead, and I did not use the condenser. I'm just going to return it to Coburn's. The job canceled, so I'm going to return it. So now I'm going to issue a vendor credit, but I'm going to return this condenser. But remember, I do not return vendor credits. I do not use vendor credits and then use model numbers, even though this is the model number of that unit that I am returning. I will simply go to miscellaneous equipment. When I go to miscellaneous equipment, I select the one that is not serialized, and then I type in RA14 030 AJ1NA, and then a couple dashes, put serial number 123456, if that's the serial number of the condenser that I am returning. That's how I can now return that piece of equipment. Now that equipment may have been sitting in my warehouse for 2 weeks before I decided to return it. And then a week later, I may sell that condenser again, and they'll send it back to me. Same exact condenser, they'll send it back to me 2 weeks later. Because now I sold another one, so I need to purchase another one. But instead of me just keeping it in the shop here and wasting my, not wasting, but you know, spending my $1,000, $1,500 on the condenser, letting it sit here and take up space, I just return it and get my credit back. No big deal. Now 2 weeks later, I sell another one and I purchase the same condenser right back. If that condenser later on you're purchasing the same condenser back, let's just say that's the case, I'm purchasing that exact same condenser back, and I'm just going to say that the computer is not allowing you to receive that serial number because it's the same serial number as one that was received before. Just put a period after it, and now you'll have 1 2 3 4 5 6 period as this serial number. Then you can receive that serial number. Other than that, you won't be able to do it. You've got to process these condensers, furnaces, coils, and everything. Process them in order to return them as serialized items. They have got to be processed in order to do that. If they weren't serialized items, then you wouldn't have a problem with that. If I do item lists, so if I have a purchase order that I need to create a whole new item because it's an entire new model number, then I would go into item list, which is on the top right up here. I click it, it pulls up my item list. My part description, I just hit add, and I would do inventory part, and move it to my other screen, and I would literally add that entire part number, a description of it, and I finish all this out right here, and then we can actually do the new model number. So if you have to type in miscellaneous equipment on a PO in order to finish the PO to get that model number into the PO, but you can't receive it until I actually put that model number in the computer, because I want the model number for Rude, Lennox, Mitsubishi, and Amana in my computer. So I will have to physically put it in the computer myself with all that little stuff I'll fill in. I don't want anybody else doing it but me, because it's all screwed up when somebody else does it. You cannot receive that purchase order until I put the correct model number in the computer. And once I put that model number in there, then we can go ahead and finish out that purchase order, put the serial number in it, receive the serial number, and take it all from there and put it on the invoice. Other than that, you can't do it. Remember, with vendor credits, Lennox, we do not return the items to Lennox with our vendor credits. What we do is we store the parts in our warehouse. When we store the parts in our warehouse, we have got to take a warranty piece of paper. I'm looking to see if I have any, which I don't think I do right here. We have to take a warranty piece of paper that we have already printed out. They're green sheets that have all the warranty equipment on it, all the model numbers and everything that we need on it. And we have got to tape that warranty sheet to the actual item that we need to return, that we have now have to hold on to for 6 months. So we tape that sheet to that box. Say it's a blower motor, and that sheet has got to have the part that you're have on there, the install date on it, the customer, the invoice number on it, the date of installation, and then how long do we have to keep this part? What day can we throw this away? So if I got to keep it for 6 months, and today's December 19th, I've got to keep it for 6 months. So I'll take it out to June or whatever it is, on the 19th day of 6 months from now, and that's the day I can literally throw that part away. We bring that part out into the warehouse, and we have a special place all the way up against the wall, that those parts just go and put them up on the shelf basically. And then on the outside of the box, we'll put the date that we can throw it away, so that you can look up at the shelf and see on 6/19 of 2023 we can throw it away. And it could be an evaporator coil, it could be circuit boards, it could be blower motors, it could be whatever. We just have to keep it. 3 months from now, if Lennox calls me up or request that part number, that particular deal to be sent back to them, and we don't have it, they're going to charge me for the part then. So it's kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Now, Rude and Amana, Mitsubishi, we literally return the parts back to them. We get a vendor credit for it, but if that customer, if that supply house or a vendor decides they are not going to warranty that particular item for whatever reason it is, then they are going to charge my account again for that particular part. That's why I say it is extremely important that we verify that whatever part we are doing a vendor credit for, or we're doing a PO to purchase a quote-unquote warranty part, you have to do your due diligence to verify that that part is under warranty from date of installation to today. If it is not under warranty and you cannot verify it, you cannot assume it is under warranty unless you want to pay for it. Because I'm not going to. So you may have to. So just do your job, figure out what the warranty is, call the supplier, give them the model number, give them the serial number, and they'll tell you whether it's under warranty or not if you don't have the answer to it. For Coburns, you can go to the Rude website, and you can look up the warranty stuff on with the serial number, and it'll tell you when the expiration date is for the warranty. You can also go to Lennox's website, and you can find out what is the warranty on a serial number for Lennox. Same thing with the Amana and stuff like that. You can find out all the serial numbers and what the warranty is and what the expiration is. So I think this will conclude the vendor credit video, because it's just equipment and it's just parts on it on the vendor credit video. But the key things you have to remember is on these items, you do not return a model number. You return warranty parts and you return warranty equipment. So anytime you do a vendor credit, the first word on there should be warranty equipment. And if it says warranty equipment and you got vendor credit, you can process from there. If it says miscellaneous equipment, you cannot process it on vendor credit, because warranty stuff has got to be processed under vendor credit. If you're doing a PO and it's a warranty piece of equipment, a warranty service part, and you're doing a PO, not a vendor credit, a PO, that means you're purchasing it. If it is a warranty item, the first line item or the first word you type in, so let's just say right now I'm fixing to issue a PO. Not a vendor credit like I have up here, but I'm just going to say, if I'm issuing a PO, we issue the PO through the dispatch. Remember, you go to the dispatch right here, whatever that dispatch is, and you create a PO up at the top right here. If you're issuing a vendor credit, you go to PO list right here, and then you add, and then you go to vendor credit. You do not add purchase order. You go to dispatch, and then you create a purchase order, which automatically puts in the job and the dispatch number. So we've said this 100 times. So if you watch these videos a couple times, you will now understand that the reason I'm saying this 100 times is because it gets screwed up 100 times when people don't pay attention to what they're doing. I'm going to go ahead and knock this video out from here. There's your vendor credits here. Oh, again, at the bottom with your memo, if you're doing a vendor credit and that company issues an invoice for a vendor credit, in the memo down at the bottom you put the invoice number. So if it's from Lennox, Lennox is right here, delivery, order date. Here's your order number right here with Lennox. Okay? Whereas with Coburn's, it was up at the top on your invoice number. And remember, Coburn's is going to have CM on it, whereas Lennox just has an order number. Right here on Lennox, you got a PO of 26674. This is a purchase order. This is for an evaporator coil for $1,105. And then when we are checking all this stuff, so when we get this invoice from Lennox for $1,100, we have to pull the PO up. Then we have to go and we have to write on here what address it is actually for. Then we put PIE on here, PIE, which is P is for paid, I is for inventory, E is for equipment, meaning it's in the equipment, which we will do a video on all that as well too. So I will cut this video out right now and we'll start a new one in a couple minutes and going over some of this stuff as well. Thank you very much.